What I find interesting is this conversation around balancing out having high standards for yourself with being realistic with the season of life that you're in. So, for example, if you're in your 20s, your standards for your training, for your outcomes, we want to be really high because you're pretty bulletproof generally in that stage of life. Okay, you might not have kids, you might not have great responsibilities. It's really still a lot about you. In your 40s, 50s, things are going to be different. Okay, you are going to be in a different season. You are most likely going to have higher responsibilities. Maybe you've got mortgages, maybe you've got family, maybe you've got other time commitments. So you can't just be living the athlete life if you also have other responsibilities. So balancing out, still having really high standards for yourself and having that drive, yet being realistic with what you expect from yourself. And I think a big thing is knowing whether you're someone that's more cruel to yourself and maybe you need to be a little more realistic, or whether you're someone that generally will look for the easier route and to justify why you aren't able to work hard, why you aren't able to meet a high standard. So as an example, in my 20s, my standards were probably more about hitting PRs, PBs on my lifts. It was really, my whole week was around my training. Now I'm in my 40s. I have 3 kids, I have a business, I have other responsibilities. And training is still a massive part of who I am, like massive. But I'm also just a little more realistic in terms of sometimes I'm not sleeping as well. Sometimes I have competing time constraints. And knowing that this is the case as to what I'm aiming for. So these days, it's not so much about the weight that I'm lifting. I'm not as worried about hitting PBs. It's more just worried about, am I getting the amount of sessions that I want to be getting? Am I still eating to my standards? So the horizon hasn't changed much, but it has changed. So I think knowing what season you're in and therefore being realistic with it, but having high standards whilst being a realist, I think is the sweet spot that we want to aim for.